Welcome to the world according to Jackie Simmons. We are delighted that you are here. And we're about to deep dive into the world according to Stephen Hercy. Now, there are people who are surprising once you get to know them, because this is a case where you can't always judge a book by its cover. Stephen, welcome to the show. How are you today?
Jackie, just seeing your electric smile puts sunshine everywhere.
Well, thank you, Stephen. Thank you very much. All right. I love to start off all my shows with two things. One, I want you to tell the story of who you are and how you got to be. But first, I want you to tell people what's so good about being you. What's so good about the world according to Stephen Hercy?
Well, this year I was named Super Change Transformational Body Design Expert by Bernie Dorman, who wrote a #1 best-selling book. And that gives me the avenue for people to lend an open ear to hear what I have to say.
There we go. Hold it. We're going to slow that down. The first super change body transformation expert in the world.
Yes.
All right. So for the people who don't know who Bernie Dorman is, he created a little organization called CEO Space. For you, though, how did you meet Bernie, and why did he crown you as the first super change body transformation expert in the world?
Well, you know, I joined CEO Space, and I was invited on the stage to explain what it is I was looking for. And he's an expert in having a vision forward, and he pretended he was me. And he gave the most electrifying commercial that anybody ever had. So his vision was really, really far beyond what I was at the moment. And he was so well connected and respected that, you know, it took many, many years for him to open up to me and for me to get a little bit closer. It didn't just happen. But the connection was always because he would say, Stephen, you look so fabulous that one day I hope to be looking just like you. And that put a smile on my face. And because subconsciously I was saying, if you only allow me, I can show you the way.
Got it. Got it. Got it. Well, yeah, I get that. And for everybody who's on the call, everybody who's listening to the show, watching it live, have there ever been a moment where you just were like, would you please ask me to help you? If you just asked me to help you, I could do something?
Every waking moment that I'm up.
I get that.
You know, like, okay, so, you know, we have stories. Well, there is somebody that is so famous, and all of a sudden she posts something on Facebook and she talks about the pain that she's going through for her shoulder, et cetera, et cetera. Well, I took a risk and I did respond. It took a while if I had the right email. And these people just don't listen. Because yesterday I have on the Facebook, she's saying, I am so much pain. I have tried everything in the world. And now I'm going to surgery tomorrow. And I feel really bad because I never knew people could have such pain in their life that I am now experiencing. And the truth is that I sent her a video that showed somebody that was diagnosed or suggested by 3 surgeons to have immediate surgery. And they did my program and they never did any surgery. So, and I have a lot of cases like that where somebody's scheduled for surgery and they go have a conversation with me and they never make it to that operating table and they lead a very full, impactful life with no pain. That's the magic of what Stephen Hercy is about. I have an uncanny ability to come up with solutions. So I don't always, when people ask me, well, what's your story? I'll tell you what my story is. People always have these stories about the pain they've gone through, their experiences. I don't go there. I'm going, because every day we go through these challenges. So I could tell you a story today. You could tell me your story so we could chit chat.
Misery loves company. And
yeah.
I am firmly in your camp here. Okay. Instead of chit chat about how bad is it and why it's so bad, where do you go?
I go to the solution. I immediately go to the solution. I'll give you an example. I won't name somebody, but somebody came on a training. I didn't know, but they had a heart condition. I just take one look at the person, and to me, they look very elegant, but at the same time, there's no life in the person. So somebody told her, in this case her, that lifting weights was not an option.
Ooh.
Okay? Now she's firmly, so what I'm going up against is I'm going up her belief system that somebody told her a definite lie. So what ensued afterwards, we gave her a simple exercise, and when I came on, I was able to make the brain muscle connection for her to start actually doing a movement that send good vibes or sensations to her body. So that's a miracle. Because
her to her body in a positive way. And that is a miracle. As someone who used to have chronic pain, this brain-body connection that's pain-driven because someone's been in pain, interrupting that is what you're talking about doing. You're talking about sending a different signal. And for anybody who believes that's not possible, you can click off this podcast now, because we're going to go into what is possible. So if your belief system is that I've been in pain so long that nothing is going to change my world, this podcast is not for you. All right, take us there. What's next?
Well, what's next is, well, there's different ways of, we can say,
wait a minute. I know what's next. What's
okay.
next is you telling us how you became. You were not, I will guarantee you one thing, Stephen. You're amazing and marvelous, but you were not born the world's first super change body transformation expert in the world. That's
hey, listen.
Not born.
So,
how did you get into this?
I was that 97-pound weakling. Okay, I was that 97-pound weakling that picked up a comic book and saw a picture of Charles Atlas, and I immediately saw a benefit in having a more manly body. So
yeah, how old were you?
Maybe 13.
At 13, there's a huge benefit to having a more manly body. I can imagine. I'm just going.
So you know, I have many stories. So the story was I have a Jewish background. I am Jewish. Okay, so I had my mother. The truth of the matter is, because I was born on January 1st, my mother saw me as a sign from God. She always told me I could never do any wrong. On the other hand, my father was a worker. He had his own company or business, but he wasn't interested in exercise or anything really about me. So what happened is I would use my feminine side to seduce my mother into going to a physical gym and signing me up on a membership.
Hold it. You just accused all women of being manipulative. I just want you to I'm going to call you out on that. I used my feminine side. Not that men have ever tried to convince me of anything. I used my feminine side to convince my mother to take me to the gym. Come on. You think you're going to get away with that on my show?
Well, I think that would apply more to men, because men slide off their work off their feminine side to seduce things in life, or to get women to take care of their feelings.
So we're going to make a distinction here.
Yes.
You're making a distinction between a feminine side to an aspect of your personality and your gender. That was not a gender comment, but trust me, we want to clear this up for the audience because I can only imagine the knee-jerk reactions and corrective complex going on in the world.
Well,
So,
you know, I've always been for women, and you know, what happens is that, man, we have a testosterone, and
and we love that about you guys.
well, what happens is sometimes women, through dialoguing, get into some type of dialogue or an argument where they don't realize they cannot win because we have testosterone, we will outfocus women every time. And in the conversation, because the brain of a woman is illogical, she mixes the chemical between left and right side of the brain and she gets flustered. And that's where us guys become manipulative.
Oh, okay. So you just said a whole mouthful. You know, I warned everybody up front that we were going to rumble. That this was
okay, I'm ready.
that I was going to rumble with, because what you just said was really quite telling. It's possibly true. And any woman listening to this who reacted, one of the reasons we reacted is because it's possibly true. And we'll go there. We will pretend that what you said is true for the purposes of this conversation. But on each point, I want permission to issue a counterpoint.
Go for it. You're like the coach. I'm like the quarterback, and you're like the coach. You're calling in the plays. Besides, you're an electrifying woman. So the thing is, you know, as soon as I actually was introduced to you, I said, "There's a woman I'm going to get along with," because first of all, you're very calm and cool, and you don't take, you're not intimidated by me at all. You just tell me how it is, and you're telling it to me with certainty. So I'm not questioning where you're in shape, out of shape. I'm just want to do better.
The reality is that your superpower, Stephen, is that you can meet someone wherever they are.
Thank you.
That's your strength. It's not that you've got the world's greatest muscle building system, okay? I'm as good as that is, and I'm not arguing about the quality of your program, right? Mm-hmm. But that's not your superpower. Your superpower is your ability to meet people where they are. And it's something that very few people have. So let's go back to this comment you just made about how women are illogical. Mm-hmm. Since women manage the vast majority of wealth in the world, it's an interesting concept. These number of women in tech, science, math, all of these very logical, very, quote, left brain fields. And yet you're saying that women are illogical. Would you please go ahead and argue that point with me? Proof.
That's scientific proof.
Good.
Okay, that there's a chemical, okay, we'll talk about women specifically at the moment because this applies to left-handed men, but when you have a long,
what?
I'll clarify it. It actually applies to left-handed men also. There's a large corpus callosum between left and right side of the brain and allows women and left-handed men to think and feel simultaneously. That's why they say always sell to a woman. Because because when you're selling to a man, men need like weeks and weeks to think about what you're talking about. They have, because the reason is for men, the unknown, or if the blackboard is blank, we're a creature of habit, and the unknown is very scary. Whereas women, so if men leave their feeling side or their thinking side, and they go to their feeling side, it's very unsafe for them if they make a wrong choice. Ooh. Women can think and feel together. So a woman could be in her thought process, and she could be in her feeling side, and she can run back to her thinking side and be very safe. So okay. There is an advantage to being a woman.
Thank you. And I'm just laughing because I like food analogies. And when I'm explaining how a typical, these are very, everybody just listen, these are very, 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 very broad generalizations.
Exactly.
On a broad generalization scale, when I'm explaining to someone how a typical male brain works and how a typical, remember I'm saying typical and broad and generalization,
Mhm.
how a typical female brain works. The man's brain is like a waffle. Each thing has its own little compartment. And when you put information in, it lands in one little compartment, what you just said about thinking. And then it has to spill over, or you've got to move him into the feeling side. And then you've got to move him into, I mean, the man's brain is like a waffle with all those little compartments. And by comparison, a woman's brain is like spaghetti. Everything touches everything. Everything
Perfect.
touches everything. And so this is very broad brush, but you're describing it really, really well, Stephen, but it never dawned on me about left-handed men. So this is interesting for me. You got my attention.
Okay, so how about if I explain why is strength training so invaluable to women?
All right, we're going to change your language because somebody's not going to be able to hear what you just said. So why is strength training so valuable to women? Stephen, I'll ask, why is strength training so valuable to women?
Okay, so what happens is when you stay strong, you have lots of options. But through my experience with women, in this case women, when I'm interviewing them, and that's factual, their physical strength drops to about 30%.
Say more about that, please.
Well, let's take a woman that's okay. Let's take a woman that's okay.
Because I'm confused. Are you saying that while you're interviewing them, their strength is dropping?
Okay.
That when you interview them,
You could okay. A woman could be. I could have a conversation with a woman, and she could be very much together. So based on our interaction, I can pretty much guess where her strength level is at. So what happens is, if she was 100% strong when she was born, that's great. But as time goes on, the strength goes down. So now maybe it was at 100 and now it's at 80 and 70. If it goes if it goes below 50%, there's only two things that can happen. A woman will go up inside her intellectual mind and live her life from that viewpoint. The other type of woman.
Wait a minute. What does that option look like? What does someone living?
They always say what they think and want.
Okay.
Okay, let me help you. The expression of in dialoguing for a man is to say what he wants and thinks.
Mm-hmm.
And this applies to outside of work, because in work we're all male and female. So if you're at work, let's say I skip around a bit, but let's say I'm at work and I'm a woman and Harry comes along and says, "Oh, you're so beautiful today," or say, a strong woman would say, "You know, Harry, I'm not going to tell you how I feel, but I'm going to tell you what I think. I think you ought to get back to your desk and go back to work." You see, in work, men come on and give you a compliment or a feeling and things like that. That's really sexism, because there's equality at work. It's your thought process that's most invaluable. So what happens is when the strength goes down, there's two places women go. They either go up inside their intellectual mind and cut off their body, or their strength is so low that they become an emotional basket case. That means they overreact to everything that you present to them. And then they think about it later. See, so there's no real medium. They either go up or down.
So we're talking about on Jackie's spectrums, because I believe life is lived on spectrums. We're talking about either extreme. At this moment, when a woman's strength drops below 50%,
right,
she's going to respond to the world either from totally up in her head, thinking only, or she's going to respond to the world from totally in her emotions, from being triggered only. Because we're not talking about just a normal emotional response. Now you're describing what most people would say is called being triggered.
Yes.
Okay. So
You're accurate.
what happens when she starts rebuilding her physical strength?
Okay, so the difference when first of all, you have fitness programs and people, there's all sorts of choices. So people don't know what each component does. Like if you went to a lawyer, they have different modalities. If you went to a doctor or a dentist. But when it comes to fitness, wherever the person is presented something, they think, oh, that's it. So they don't know exactly what they're getting into. So
okay,
all
so that's
fitness,
a totally different problem. I don't want to confuse people too much.
But
what you're saying is that in the world of fitness, because that's where we're going, we're talking about physical strength.
Yeah, okay.
In the world of physical fitness, there's like this menu. And whatever the special of the day is, sounds good, even if you're allergic to it.
I love it.
Did that?
It's perfect. You want to come work for me? That was great.
I just want to clear this up for people listening.
You're 100% accurate.
Okay, cool. All right.
But I know where I'm going with the conversation. The thing is, keep me on board, is so all these modalities has to do with performance. I'm going to do more than I did yesterday, or come on. So in doctor fitness programs or body design programs, it's approached about having a better posture and getting women or even men out of their head and back into their body. That's so I'm creating the bridge to get the person from their head back into their body where they will own it.
And I'm just laughing because I know that you work with really high-end men. You've been doing this for a really, really long time. And that because of your partnership with Batista, it's becoming more known that you also work with women. Yeah. And so, you know, this whole journey that you're on to be seen as someone who can influence the impact that each individual has in the world. And that's what you're talking about. When you're talking about physical strength, the way that that shows up in the world is the impact that someone has in the world. And the basis is the physical strength in the body.
Okay, so
expression is different. Go ahead.
I'm going to hit the nail on the head. Okay, so visualize this. I mentioned that most of the people, or it could be men or could women, their strength goes down to 30%. So now you have problems in their relationships with their family because of their dialoguing from different expressions, incorrect transfer of energy, and they have
translation. They're being triggered and they're being snarky.
Okay,
and
so
they're falling apart.
Okay, so what happens when they come to Dr. Fitness? I can guarantee you that here's the problem I solve. You're always asking me what the problem I solve. I'm going to impact their body with 50% more strength, which is going to take care of all their problems. When you raise the strength level of a woman 50% in 20 minutes, you will have no problem seeing a smile on her face and her saying no to things that hurt her. She will take a different viewpoint in life and say, it's me first and you second.
Okay, so I'm a big proponent in healthy self-centeredness, where a person is in the center of their own life. And what you just described is that experience. The difference between being more concerned about other people's experiences, their emotions, their opinions, their expectations than you are about your own. To being in the center of your own life where what you want actually matters. And that comes into play with every decision that you make. And you're saying that there's a direct correlation between my ability to experience myself in the center of my own life and my muscle strength.
Exactly. It's an advanced form of acupuncture. So I'll give you an example, which is,
Oh, wait a minute. Whoa, you just confused everybody again. What's acupuncture got to do with strength training?
Okay. The simple thing is, if you, it's not a bad thing, but when you go to let's say you went to a chiropractor, there's many different maladies. But what happens is, you go to a chiropractor, you have a lot of pain, and I believe in chiropractors, and what happens is, pretty soon they come out with an x-ray and they explain to you, they show you an x-ray, and you go, but you're not an expert. You don't even know what they're talking about. You're just going to say yes. The fear is saying yes. And he or she is going to say, well, you come see me about 5 or 6 or 20 times, and we're going to fix all the subluxations or everything, and you're going to be a new person. That is a total lie. Unless you combine it to strength training that keeps the adjustments in place, you will always experience that problem. So now we fast forward to Eastern medicine. When you think of acupuncture, what's the vision that comes up? I see it, most of the time I see an Asian person with a very soft smile, and she has like a white robe, and in her room she's got candles, and she has a very different demeanor. And when we think of the nervous system, we think of them more like a doctor. They say, oh my God. They say, take out your tongue, let me check it out. Oh, and you say, oh my God, if she knows where to put that needle, wow, I might get better. So there's a whole different premise in the way that it's approached. So strength training, according to body design, is built on the same principle. I can tell you that we can't fool you. I can say, I'm an ergonomic expert, so I can get you, just like a shoe salesman, the most comfortable pair of shoes. And when you experience this luxurious feeling, you won't want to stop going for a walk in those shoes. If I say I can increase your strength 50%, I'm not a trainer. I'm going to show you visually by the numbers on the machine that that's a reality.
Okay. The difference between the numbers on the machine and the experience of a pair of custom fit shoes.
Well, there's two things.
Yeah, I get it. And yet you brought them up in the same sentence. So now we're into compare and contrast because you brought them up together. And this is something that for many of us is very confusing about the industry. People who are experts in the industry of health and fitness often bring up multiple aspects and multiple modalities, even in one sentence. And we're left confused. Now, I'm a business coach. A confused mind will not buy. So we're going to clean this up for everybody, even though you're not selling anything. I mean, granted, you are here just to help people get the fact that there is a way for them to sort out everything that's in disarray in their life using one simple approach, which is let's reclaim the strength you were born with. Did I get it?
Yes.
Okay. From the point of view of let's reclaim the strength you were born with, and do it with a program that fits you like a custom-made shoe and has all of the results that people are searching for. They're searching for the result of emotional harmony and out of pain and freedom of movement. And we search all over the spectrum, everything from straight physical, like Rolfing and chiropractic, to straight energetic, like acupuncture and yoga and meditation. And what you're saying is that all of those require physical strength in the body to be effective. So why don't we just start with physical strength in the body?
I love it. The magic is with the secret sauce or formula, we can elevate the person's strength 50% in 20 minutes, which is absolutely unheard of. That's actually astounding.
Well, it absolutely is. And having experienced it, which is the only reason that you're on my show, because we would spar on every single topic simply because a woman is illogical. I'm like, really? And so we would have struck sparks against each other if I had not had direct experience of the benefits of building my muscle strength. And we're not talking core strength building here. We're talking, let's get all the muscles engaged again. And from that perspective, which is a very gentle approach, you don't come across as a gentle kind of guy, Stephen. I'm just going to name the elephant in the room. And yet your approach to this is very gentle, and you meet people where they are. So can you help people bridge this gap? How?
I certainly will. What's the question?
The question is, how did you went from a 97-pound weakling to now being, you know, the first ever
super change. Yes, right.
Yeah, super change on the muscular side. I mean, this is really kind of amazing. Super change body transformation expert. So you've been that whole gamut from one to the other. And at some point, you decided that there was a specific need for women to get this.
Yes, there were no systems available from a woman's point of view, or problems that a problem could be a cellulite, a muscular imbalance.
What year? What year was it that you got the fact that there was a need in the marketplace?
It could be 13 years old, it could be 15, 7.
How old were you when you realized that there was a need in the marketplace?
I'd have to say I was closer to like 20 or 21 because I had more life experience.
Okay. So at the age of 20 or 21, you figured out that women were being neglected in the health and fitness industry. Now,
yes.
What I'm going to point out, because there's going to be a lot of people who say, but wait a minute, there's all these specialty gyms and all these specialty programs just for women. Now, how long has it been since you were 21? How old are you?
I'm 72.
Okay. So 50 years ago, there were no options for women. There were gyms for men, there were boxing rings for men, but there was almost nothing out there as far as strength training for women. It was not advised. Just like you told the story of the woman who had the heart condition and they said, don't lift weights. Women were not advised to lift weights. And so 50 years ago, you figured out that there was this need for women to understand their own strength and how to build that strength, how to put themselves in the center of their own lives emotionally and mentally, and that the fastest path to get there was physically.
Yes.
Cool.
But there's a difference. The strength comes from inside out. Everything that they've experienced is coming from an outside strength, and the strength that I'm talking about is inner strength. Mm-hmm. But they need a prescription, knowing, or a mentor to know how to handle it or channel it. So, not in my defense, I'm going to give you two samples very fast. Okay, so it's a person that's she's on my website. She's a very high dentist, high-level dentist. You can't tell her what to do. So there was a book. There's a book about myself, and I'm on the cover, which I like because when I would be in an elevator, I would hold it up and say, "Did you read a good book?" And it would take the person a while to realize that it was actually me. Okay, so I wanted to promote my book, and she said to me, the secretary said, "Come in, we won't charge you. The doctor wants to meet you." And I thought that was really nice. So now I'm sitting in the chair, and I see this Asian beautiful woman, and I look at her and I say, "You know, you ought to be on my program." The reason is because I could see the stress in her face, the logical stress in her face. That's me on the cover, by the way.
Yeah, there's stress in your face on that cover. I get it.
Okay, so she actually got the book and read it, and somehow she related to what was in the book. and she came in for a visit. And I obviously told her to leave her husband at home. So
Why?
she,
Wait a minute, hold it. Explain that. You told her to
uh,
leave her husband
uh,
because
I got news for you. The men are really very destructive. And in today's society, the women add to that problem. The women today have become so much like men, they are negating the powers of men giving them gifts. It's just the way it is. So she comes to my office, and fortunately, Batista was there. And 3 hours later, a husband is hysterical, but I'm in a closed office, and I'm having a connection with this high-powered woman, and she's going up and down. And Juno, she decided to. The husband's screaming, "Don't do the program. Don't do the, he just wants to sell you something." Shh. I told her, take your photos and send them to me. So now I have the photos, and this is a true story. And now she says, okay, well, what's the result, or what's that? Now, I'm dealing with a high-powered woman that's in her head, in business. Okay. Here's the trick that women will just love. If you stay for a man in a conversation and hold your ground with a woman, in 5 minutes' time, the chemical in his brain, she's going to become illogical, and she's going to start to bend. So she says, why do I have to come in? I say, Rosita, you need to come in. 5 minutes goes by. She said, oh, okay, I'll come in. Okay. Now she comes into my office, and she says to me, oh, you're so quiet today. Here, let me pull the chair closer so we could connect better. I'm the same person I was when she first came. The thing is, I'm dealing with their stress level. That's a problem. So I'm in actually a very dangerous situation, because I have to be very careful in the words that I choose, because of that trigger, they don't ask for clarification. They just jump at you. But what people don't see is I'm the person that can change their life. So how does that look? You have a chessboard, and you have chess pieces. And what you're trying to do is to move the chess pieces up the board to be successful. Well, I'm exactly, because men, myself personally, men create off my feminine side, not my male side. So I sit here like a painter, and I paint, or I create prescriptions or programs to change people's lives. And I sit hour after hour, because every exercise is attached to an emotion or a feeling or an outcome. So with certainty, when I finish this creation or this painting, your life is going to change, because it's dead accurate.
got it. Okay, so now we understand how you work your magic.
So that's the sensitive side of me. People don't see the quiet side, because the feminine side of a woman, a man, is quiet. So they don't see the quiet side of me. They only see the exterior side. But I can tell you with certainty that I have more patience than any woman alive. And I spend hours helping women to learn how to love their body more.
We're not going to go there. You're willing to invest hours to help a single client in a customized program, not just create what she wants in her life, but do it from a place of loving her body more. So that's the tagline. How to learn to love your body more. How to learn to love your body more is the program with Dr. Fitness International that helps women reconnect, recharge, and reclaim being in the center of their life. Now, it took a little while to get here with you, but here's the deal. For everybody listening to this, if you want to be able to reconnect, recharge, and reclaim being in the center of your life, and you want to know more about Dr. Fitness International, you go to drfitnessinternational.com. And there are a lot of books on Amazon. We'll be dropping the link for those books. It'll be in the show notes. It'll be in the comments. Feel free to share, because it's not just about women. This applies to men as well, but we've been having this conversation from Dr. Fitness's feminine side. For those of you who are wondering what it would be like if we had had it from his masculine side, the claws would have come out, ladies, as you can only dream. So here we go. It's a powerful message that it's okay to be in the center of your own life, that it's okay to reclaim your strength, to re-energize, to reinvest in yourself. So follow up, put comments below. Dr. Fitness International, Mr. Stephen Hercy, thank you for coming on The World According to Jackie and being willing to spar with me today. I have had a great time, and I really appreciate your time.
And I really appreciate helping to clarify some of the expressions I'm talking, because I only have a very short time to get some information across that could be helpful to change people's lives. And it's just wonderful to hear you be so supportive. And I encourage women to actually ask a lot of questions.
Ask a lot of questions. We're usually not as good about that as men are. And so being encouraged to ask questions is a wonderful gift.
Here's another thought I had real fast. You know, if I wanted to actually, let's say it was a Tony Robbins and I heard about him, I would actually listen or do some research. I don't know too many people that actually go to my website and actually do any research. They just show up and they're just assuming I'm a personal trainer. You understand? I have 350 videos on YouTube. I have podcasts.
Hold it. I got a disclaimer for you.
What?
I got it.
Got it.
Dr. Fitness International. He's not just a personal trainer. All right. Now that we've got that disclaimer out of the way, there's no doubt that if someone wants to do the research, all of the information about you is there. You've been in this game for long enough to be an icon. And you're also just now coming into my world where people can experience your world. So again, thank you very much for being willing to come, show up, and share your world with my audience.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you.